What is up, everyone, and welcome to some more F1 23 My Team Career Mode. Last time out, we were at the Bahrain Grand Prix for the first round of Season 2, and after getting our best qualifying of the season, qualifying in second place, we managed to hold on to a P5 finish after a couple red flags really messed with my head with regards to what we should do with the strategy. I managed to work out a decent one in the end, and we managed to hold on to P5 in a very uncompetitive car. So yeah, 10 big points scored already this season, on the hunt for P6 in the Constructors' Championship. Currently, we're standing P4 in the Constructors' Championship. However, I don't think we'll be able to stay there. We just had an abnormally good race. However, I think here in Saudi Arabia, it might be time for it to be business as usual. But first, we've got a few things to attend to. In particular, you can see that we have got a... it is going to be 5 upgrades, which are all coming onto the car, starting... on the 15th, oh no, the 16th. So literally the same day that we go to the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, we've got some of these upgrades coming in. But first, we're going to be doing this facility upgrade at long last. I teased it last time out. We've got the 6.5 million we need, and that is going to be on probably in time for Australia, I reckon, but I'm not 100% sure. But let's see now. Will we get these upgrades? No, none of them. Okay, sure, fine. Alright, so all that development we were about to do, yeah, just completely scrap it. It's all gone, not happening, and we're going to have to redo all of those. At least they'll be cheaper, but this is still brutal. 5 upgrades failed. That's unheard of. We've got one more upgrade in the durability department, which is due to finish, I think, between Saudi Arabia and Australia. But other than that, yeah, everything else is on its way. Ah, man, I can't believe that. That's immensely frustrating. But yeah, anyway, it just means that we have to wait one more race weekend, maybe 2 more race weekends before we can get those upgrades onto the car. Shouldn't be too big of a deal, hopefully. And yeah, we'll see if we can get a good result, good time out here in Saudi Arabia. It's a track I typically do pretty well at, so I'm hoping to get at least back into the points again. You know, even if we're not you know, top 5, if we can be top 10, then that would be ideal. You know, grab at least a couple points. I think that's the target we've got to be aiming for here. I still can't get over 5 upgrades failing. That's actually ridiculous, man. Absolutely unheard of. But anyway, you know, these things happen from time to time. It's just unfortunate that it befell us in a time where we were hoping that we might be able to be a little bit competitive. It means we're going to slide probably further down the order as we look at a man who is no longer in real life Formula 1, Nick De Vries, still driving for AlphaTauri in this game. And yeah, we completed the practice session, and it went all right. My pace wasn't fantastic, and I was pretty inconsistent. We didn't do a run on the soft tires. We only went on the mediums, so I don't know what our true pace is going to be like. We'll see where we finished in the end. It was a 1:30.4 for us, 2 seconds off the pace, and actually we were behind Dennis Hauger on those medium tires. So Hauger maybe looking to have his first weekend where he outperforms me. That would be nice, you know, if he could do it this early on. But I just think with the lack of personnel upgrades, I just don't see it happening at this stage. But, you know, I've been wrong before, so we'll see. You know, I got outperformed by Fittipaldi a couple times. So, yeah, it's not out of the question that Hauger might be able to outperform me as well. But, yeah, we'll see whether that's going to be a thing he does or not now as we get into the qualifying session. The target here has to be top 10, you know, it has to be because of the sponsorship bonuses that we get for qualifying top 10. That's going to be the aim, and yeah, anything less than that, I think I'll be pretty annoyed about that. But yeah, anyway, we move into qualifying now. You can see that we are on a fresh set of soft compound tyres, and we cross the line to do a 1:28.8, and I would wage to say we're probably going to have to improve on that one a little bit if we want to get through. That's not a particularly competitive time. Indeed, you can see it puts us down in 19th at the moment. However, we improved by 6/10 on another set of soft compound tyres, and yeah, that means that we are through comfortably in P12. So yeah, things got a little bit hairy for a second there, but all in all, not too bad at the end of the day. And yeah, hopefully we can build on this and try and get into the top 10. We're a couple tenths away from the cars in the top 10 at the moment. Meanwhile, Dennis Hauger out in last place, a long way off of Zhou Guanyu in 21st. And then the other eliminations were De Vries, Sargent, Fittipaldi, and Piastri. Piastri, who qualified 3rd in Bahrain is out in Q1 now. That's going to be a big crushing blow for him, I imagine. But yeah, we'll see what we can do now as we get into Q2. We're on a used set of soft compound tyres to kick things off. And so, yeah, as we cross the line, we're coming under pressure from, I think there's an Alpine behind us, possibly, not sure. It's good enough for a 128.3. I don't know if that'll be good enough to get us through, though. So we're probably going to have to go on a fresh set of tyres. You can see we're currently down in 14th place. And yeah, we're going to be improving, hopefully. We're almost 5 tenths up at the moment. We've got one more corner to take. Obviously, we're on a fresh set of tyres now, whereas we were on a used set before. So I'm hoping that this should be another improvement through this corner. We'll see. Yep, we've gone up to about 5 tenths, just over 5 tenths now, and yeah, that is going to be it. We're going to cross the line, 127.8, and that puts us P9. So we are through Q3, objective met, boxes ticked, and now we can just have some fun in Q3, see how far up the order we can qualify. Let's see who was out in the meantime. Okay, so Norris, very disappointing for him, not making Q3. Same deal for Leclerc, not making Q3. And yeah, I'm not sure who else failed to make. I mean, you got Bottas as well, actually, in the Mercedes. Tsunoda in the Alfa Romeo, Russell in the Mercedes, Albon in the Alfa Tauri. So both Mercedes, a Ferrari and a McLaren eliminated in Q2 there. Meanwhile, you got both Aston Martins, both Red Bulls making it through. Sainz, both Hasses. I think 1 or 2 of the Alpines made it through as well. Yeah, so a bit of a mix up there. I guess can't have been both of the Alpines, right? Because with both Hasses, both Red Bulls, both Aston Martins, Sainz. Actually, it could have been both Alpines, right? Yeah, both Alpines and myself are in the top 10 now. Sorry, I got a little bit confused. We did A time. I can't actually remember what it was now because I wasn't paying attention. I was too busy trying to figure out who was through and who wasn't. But yeah, as we stand at the moment, we are improving on whatever time we did on the used softs. I think it was about a 128.0 or something like that, if I remember correctly. So yeah, we at the moment are looking like we're going to get in amongst Ocon, Magnussen, these kind of guys in the 127.6 sort of range. And as we come on the run up to the line, it's going to be a 127.7 by the looks of things, and that is good enough to put us P7. So yeah, that is a pretty decent qualifying from us. A little bit more what you would expect. P2, a bit of an anomaly, and I'm happy with that.
With qualifying finished, it's time to remind ourselves of our top 3: Verstappen, Sainz, and Sergio Perez. Goodbye for now then, but we are really just getting started. Make sure you join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
Stroll failing to set a time in Q3. Meanwhile, that top 5 of Verstappen, Sainz, Perez, Alonso, Gasly was probably too hard for me to catch. But I think I probably could have out-qualified Magnussen if I'd have pushed just a tiny bit harder, found a little bit more time somewhere. A 127.6. I think was definitely on the cards for me there. Meanwhile, I'm getting absolutely annihilated in this rivalry right now by Sergio Perez. I beat him in the first qualifying session we did, but then he absolutely trounced me in the race in Bahrain, and now he's beaten me in qualifying again. And I would wage to say, with where we're starting, with him in, I think, P3 and myself down in P7, I'm probably not even going to be near him during this race unless I can make up a ton of positions on the start, which is something that is possible, but I would wage to say is not going to happen. So yeah, we'll see if we can do that or not. I'm not convinced that we'll be able to, though. Yeah, really, I think the target here, as always, is just going to be to finish in the top 10. If I can hold on to a few positions, I'll be pretty happy with that. And now it is time for us to get into the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix.
So here we are then, welcoming you today to one of the jewels of the Arab world. Jeddah, one of the biggest cities in Saudi Arabia, second only to Riyadh, gateway to Mecca. One of the biggest ports in the region, and now host to the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. So let's take a look at a topographical map of the Jeddah Street Circuit. As you can see, a number of challenging corners for the drivers to master here. We'll see just how much the teams have benefited from their time spent in practice this weekend. And like many street circuits, this track has the potential to punish drivers that get it wrong. Let's hope we avoid any safety cars today. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position. A very happy Carlos Sainz will start second. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Perez, Fernando Alonso, Gasly, Magnussen, Robinson, Ocon, Hulkenberg, Stroll, Norris, Leclerc, Bottas, Tsunoda, Russell, Albon, Fittipaldi, Oscar Piastri, Sargent, De Vries, Joe, and Dennis Hauger. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. And Anthony Davidson joins us in the commentary box. Ant, take us through the eras when you were driving, compare it to this one. Now, can I get your take on Max Verstappen?
Well, it was a really impressive lap in qualifying to get pole position, but are they going to be able to hold on to the lead into the first corner with so many quick starters around them? And of course, it's looking very close here today. A lot's going to be riding on those first few corners, and then the question becomes who can manage their tyres so they're in a better position to push hard towards the end.
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going.
So I'm absolutely adamant to make this strategy work at some point, and I think today is going to be the day. We're going to be starting on the hard compound of tyres, going for 13 laps and then going on to the medium tyres. The logic behind doing this is that if there is like, you know, I don't know, either some weather or maybe sort of late race safety car or something like that, you can really benefit from it. But also, if you take the stint on the harder tyres first, you can push quite hard on the second stint. That's kind of what I always try and do. It tends to make things a little bit more exciting, but at the moment I've found that because I don't really possess the pace, it's just causing me to get overtaken a lot. So I'm thinking that if this doesn't work, I'll probably switch back to doing what I was doing before, which is going with the default strategies, because those ones, you know, at least were kind of working for me. But yeah, we'll see what we can do. It didn't really work out in when we tried it in Vegas, or it didn't really work out in Bahrain, but maybe it'll work today. Let's see. As the lights come on, and the lights go out, and we've gotten away well compared to Kevin Magnussen there, pretty much as well as we can get away, given that we were on the hard compound tyres. And we're trying to go through the middle of Alonso and Gasly there. We end up making a bit of contact there with the side pod of Gasly. No damage at the moment, but yeah, we're still only in P6, unfortunately. I tried to go through the middle of them, got blocked off by Sainz, had nowhere to go, had to back out of it in the end. So yeah, Gasly, Alonso both go through. And yeah, I had a really good start given that I was on the hard compound tyres, but immediately I'm feeling the weight of these hard compound tyres compared to the mediums of everyone else's. Really doesn't feel like a very good race tyre from what I can feel, as we've already exceeded track limits once there. We need to be careful not to get a penalty, because that is going to be very detrimental to our chances of getting a points finish in this race, given that I definitely think that there will be a lot of defending to do around here, and that's going to be about the only way that I'm going to be able to hold on to a points finish here, if I had to guess. So yeah, Magnussen putting me under a lot of pressure now. I reckon that he'll be back through into P7. The Haas is looking very competitive around here, both of them in Q3 this time. And yeah, Magnussen I think started P6 and Hulkenberg P10. So yeah, really strong performance from those guys, and I'm sure they want to capitalise on that in the race to grab some points, some vital points I should say, in their fight for probably P6 in the championship with us, I imagine. It will be us, them, maybe Alpine as well. I think we'll be the ones battling over it. I think McLaren look a little bit faster this season from what I've seen of them so far. And then Norris around the outside of me there, as Magnussen did overtake me, but we managed to hold off Norris for the time being. He actually lost out of position to Ocon in the end. And yeah, that is us back down into P7 where we begun. Not too big of a deal, but hopefully we don't lose too many more positions on these hard compound tyres. There's a few people behind us now on the softs. I think anyone who didn't make... there's a few people who, yeah, didn't make Q2, who... oh, sorry, didn't make Q3, I should say, were out in Q2, who are starting on the soft compound of tyres. And Norris is one of those people, so obviously he... he's... you know, trying to make as many positions up as he can, and he's got through ahead of us into P7 now. So yeah, we're coming under pressure from Esteban Ocon behind once again, and I think he might be able to make this move as well. We're wheel to wheel as we come into the final corner, and yeah, we go deep into the final corner. He tries to swing around the outside of me, but I think he made a mistake there or something, because he's just completely dropped off all of a sudden. There's a yellow flag out. I'm wondering if he went into the wall by accident when he was trying to sweep around the outside of me or something. You can hear we didn't make any contact with him or anything. He just yeah, he just binned it. So very disappointing for Ocon there, but that is going to cause him to be sort of down and out in this race. I don't think that he's going to be able to come back from there, unfortunately for him. And yeah, potentially a big point scoring opportunity for Alpine squandered by Esteban Ocon. And meanwhile, we're now coming under pressure from Lance Stroll and the Aston Martin. It's just relentless pressure from the cars around at the moment. I'm really struggling on these hard compound tyres. I'm really feeling like the strategy wasn't the play immediately. I'm discovering why that was not the case. And yeah, Stroll making the way his way through now into P8, and we've almost fallen out of the points. Bottas, another Q2 eliminee. I don't know if that's a correct term to use, but he was eliminated in Q2, and now he's coming through in the soft tyres, trying to get ahead of me. Hulkenberg as well on those medium tyres. He started in the top 10. He's actually fallen out of the top 10. I imagine he'll probably want to try and make up a position on me if he can. DRS is of course now a thing, and that means I might be able to get back at Stroll here. But meanwhile, Valtteri Bottas is really starting to close the gap here. And yeah, you can see that it's just a complete non-contest. He's in a Mercedes, one of the fastest cars on the grid. His teammate is looking to challenge for the championship, defend his title. But that is going to be quite difficult when he's all the way down in like P15 or wherever he is at the moment. Russell really going to be having a hard time of things as Hulkenberg makes his way through now up into P10, I think. And we make a big dollop of contact with him there. But, yeah, somehow we don't get damage from that. I really don't understand how I got damage from that. How on earth did we manage to avoid the damage from that contact with Hulkenberg? I will never know, as we come under pressure from Tsunoda there as well. Yeah, very fortunate to avoid damage. Tsunoda does not back out of this. We're going wheel to wheel the whole way through this sort of S section. Somehow I managed to stay ahead, but I really don't understand how. And that has allowed Hulkenberg to get like 2 seconds away from us, as now Tsunoda makes the move, and Leclerc I think is going to try and follow him through. The soft compound tyres just completely dominant compared to these hard compound tyres, and I'm really starting to feel like this strategy is not the one at all. But it's a little bit too late to change things now, I can't really get off these tyres and go onto some better ones or anything like that. We're just gonna have to try and stick with what we've got. As on lap 6, you can see we're coming under a bit of pressure from George Russell there. Is he going to try and sweep his way around the outside of us? I don't think so. But actually, as we come through this section, which isn't really even a straight, he somehow manages to get ahead of us. And he's already a long way up the road now as we make our way onto the end of lap 8, coming under pressure from Alex Albon. He's making his way through as well, and it's turning a little bit into an I get overtaken montage. But hopefully we can start to turn the tides, maybe as everyone else's tyres start to die out and go off a little bit. Maybe we'll be able to make up a few positions. Who knows? All I know is that, yeah, we've been really struggling so far. We've lost 6 positions in this Grand Prix, and it might be a 7th there as Piastri looks up the inside of us. We do manage to keep him behind. We stay in Albon's DRS range for the time being, and you can see we're actually reeling him in a little bit, and that is because he's got an issue, which, yeah, I think is going to mean that we're going to be able to overtake him. Breeze past him with the DRS there, and yeah, into the final corner we are ahead of him and up into P12 again. So 5 positions down on where we started this race. Not great, but we move, and we'll see if we can maybe try and start to close in the cars in front. Tsunoda, Russell, all of these guys, and maybe try and get back into the points. I don't think Russell is going to be possible to catch on those soft compound tyres, or even when he pits, I don't think it'll be possible to catch as well, because he's just too fast at the moment. But someone who we will definitely catch is this man, Yuki Tsunoda, in the Alfa Romeo, because he's pulling over to the side of the grid, and that is the end of his race. So, yeah, unfortunate commiserations for Yuki Tsunoda. The Alfa Romeo really struggling to get on top of their reliability, and, yeah, another DNF for them. Obviously, they suffered the only DNF in Bahrain with Zhou Guanyu, who is a lot further down the order than Tsunoda was. And now we are coming into the pits to put on a set of medium tyres to the end of the Grand Prix. So at least, hopefully, we'll have a nice stint now and shouldn't have to worry too much about a lack of pace on the tyre compound. That's the dream here. Whether it turns into a reality, I guess we'll see. I don't know if we'll be able to make up all of these positions or not to get into the points. I guess we'll see. I think we're going to just about come out ahead of Zhou Guanyu here. Indeed we do. And yeah, that is nice. For us, at least. And, yeah, now we are going to be, you can see we're currently in P11. We're 7 seconds down Hulkenberg and Stroll ahead, though. And I think this lead might be a little bit too insurmountable, unfortunately. So I think P11 might be the maximum we'll be able to extract from this race, as Zhou Guanyu, you can see, is closing me down a little bit now, maybe, I'm not sure, but either way, this gap, actually no, he's not closing me down. I think the gap is getting slightly bigger behind me. The gap is getting bigger in front of me as well, so we're just falling into more and more of a no man's land. As you can see, De Vries as well starting to fall away from me. Yeah, not really anyone reeling me in. Fittipaldi did just make an overtake on De Vries there, but I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference. Yeah, it really just seems like we're kind of cruising here for the finale of this Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Maybe I'll come under pressure again from someone later, I don't know. But for the time being, we are in, an absolutely, fine position to just come home in P11. It'd be a shame not to get any points, but maybe there'll be another DNF. However, Carlos Sainz on lap 22 had other plans. He came from picking up damage earlier in the race. He had to do a 2-stop, and yeah, he's going to make his way back into P11. It's not going to make a difference, but any dream of me finishing in the points is probably gone now. As you can see, Ocon as well in the background. He's trying to cut his way through the field after that initial problem that he had on lap 2 it was. He's managed to yeah, get pretty far back up the grid, up into P13, as we make a move on Carlos Sainz. Yeah, we're back into P11. I don't think this is going to last, since he's significantly faster than me. If he's got the DRS, it's going to be a complete non-contest. I think his mediums are slightly younger than mine as well, so yeah, it's just going to be completely trivial for Carlos Sainz.
Okay, so
DRS, battery, and yeah, that is pretty much as easy as they'll come. I probably should have defended that one a bit harder with the battery. There's only 2 laps to go, and I've got quite a lot of battery on board, so maybe that was a bit of an L from me. But you can see we've got Ocon and Russell behind now as well, and as we move onto lap 24 and into the final lap, lap 25, you can see that they are both very close to me at this stage. So yeah, it is going to be Esteban Ocon moving up my inside, and yeah, I think he's going to make this overtake stick, maybe. Yeah, we get a bit too much oversteer there, bit of wheel spin, and in the end we are powerless to defend from him on this hard compound tyres. These mediums really started to go off. We were very lucky not to hit the wall there. You can see I lightly clipped it, and I think the game was a little bit forgiving there, possibly, that we didn't get any damage or even break off a tyre, because I think if we'd have been even a fraction further towards the wall, that probably would have spelt the end of our race. But anyway, yeah, we're going to try and defend from George Russell for the last few sectors if we can. But Ocon just getting further and further away at the moment. We need to be in DRS range to Ocon in the next DRS zone, otherwise it's just going to be completely over already. And yeah, we make it into the DRS zone, but I think yeah, we're just slightly too far outside of Ocon's DRS range. But I think Russell is on his way here. He's making his way through. Yeah, it's a complete non-contest with that Mercedes. We will have the DRS on him in the final corner, but unfortunately I have taken this corner absolutely appallingly compared to Russell on the softs. So even with the DRS, even with the battery, I don't know why I'm not burning it. It's the final lap. Why do I do this to myself? I'm not even giving myself a chance. But yeah, we unfortunately just cannot get ahead of Russell there, and yeah, that is going to be probably P14 on track. We'll see now. Maybe anything can happen. Probably not. We crossed the line, and it's going to be P14. So yeah, that is a pretty disappointing race for us. I wanted to be at least top 10, but unfortunately, I just don't think we had the pace today. Even on the mediums, we couldn't seem to do it. Valtteri Bottas, driver of the day, he did a pretty good recovery, and yeah, disappointing race all round.
It was a magnificent race and a drive right out of the top draw to take the win for Red Bull today. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves.
Yes, that is indeed my rival, Sergio Perez, on the top step of the podium. So a little bit disappointing. I don't think he was winning for a lot of that. I think he actually did an early stop, if I remember correctly, and apparently that strategy worked out for him. That's the second time that he's done that in one of my career modes. But also Bottas and Norris on the podium. Both of them started outside of the top 10. So great recovery drives from both, and I think that this will be a very happy podium all in all. But yeah, I'm not sure for certain. Maybe Norris thought he could do better. I don't know.
Sergio Perez takes the position of points leader in the Drivers' Championship. So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. So let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for your Driver of the Day?
Well, there was a lot of incredible driving out there today, but if I had to pick someone, it's got to be Sergio Perez. Fantastic driving.
Let's move on to the Constructors. It was a tough race for our championship leaders who lose ground at the top of the table. Meanwhile, Ferrari have improved their position. A strong weekend for them as they fight their way towards the top. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
Alright, so that is the driver standings. I forgot to show the constructor standings after this one. We're currently sitting in P8 in the driver standings after, a disappointing race for us. We moved down a few positions. Constructor standings, I worked it out. We will be P6 because we're currently on 10 points, and I think it's Ferrari, Aston Martin, Red Bull, Mercedes, and McLaren are the teams ahead of us. Somehow we've managed to stay ahead of Alpine and Haas, which is nice. But yeah, still a few teams that we've got to try and get ahead of in the championship if we possibly can. If we want to really cement this P6, we were aiming for P8 last year, we finished P7 this season. I really want to make sure that we get this P6 because losing out on that sponsorship bonus is like throwing millions of dollars down the drain, literally. So it's going to be absolutely imperative that we do that. But we're going to need to get these upgrades on the car and fast. I'm working on getting as many of these facility upgrades as I can. But we're into a part of the season where they're not cheap anymore. And it becomes difficult, right? Because in order to get more money, you have to go for more aggressive sponsorship bonuses if you want to get that money in any sort of good time frame. But if you fail to meet those sponsorship bonuses, you get no money. So it's kind of a trade-off. It's like, do you want to have consistently low money coming in or inconsistently high money coming in? And I don't know which one ends up working out better. I think it really depends on whether you whether you can deliver the results week in, week out or not. And sometimes the car is capable of doing that. Sometimes the car is not capable of doing that. And unfortunately, this is one of those cases where the car seemed like it wasn't capable of delivering the result I wanted it to. Maybe it's the tyre strategy. I think for Australia, the next race, we are going to move back to the tyre strategy we were on before. Going on the softer compound first. I had the logic for this strategy, but I think until we have the pace to be able to do this kind of strategy, I think unfortunately we're going to have to try and stick with what the game thinks is best, because at the moment it's just, I think, costing us a lot, and potentially will be jeopardizing our chances of finishing in a good spot in the championship. I know I'm capable of getting into the top 10 in most Grand Prix at this point, with a possible exception of something like Baku or Monaco, somewhere like that. Other ones I definitely think we're capable of doing. So we need to get our arse in gear pretty quickly, otherwise we're going to start having a fairly miserable season. Like I said, next up is going to be Australia. That is a circuit which last year we were cruelly denied a points finish. We probably should have had about P5 or 6 there, to be honest with you. But unfortunately, due to the glitch that existed with the red flags at the time, which has since been fixed, it meant that we ended up getting classified P11. Didn't pick up any points there. That was pretty frustrating for us. We just hopefully we can get that kind of result again, but it will actually count this time. Hopefully Hauger can start moving further up the field as well. If he can start getting a couple Q2s, maybe a couple top 15 finishes, that would be nice. I know he did in Bahrain, obviously, but his performance today I wasn't particularly happy with. But that is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.